All right, hello, CUNA. I'm going to be reviewing the public hearing from July 10th, 2024. Now, since this was back almost a month ago, July 10th was when they did the additional hearing for the Powers Butte project. In the end, it ended up getting denied, but you can see here it was like 3 hours long. They had another session the room was packed with people who were testifying against it. Of course, I want to hear what now that like the people I know commenting on it here. So now I'm interested in this. I didn't mean to click on it, but it just came up. So let's see.
Support.
Any questions?
Approve it.
Okay. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Brian Merrill. I live at 1901 West
So Brian used to be the chair of District 23, the Central Republican Committee.
Butte Road. And I work for the Butte family, Shane, who just testified, as one of the parties selling ground to Savion. I'd like to use my time to refute a few of the emotional pleas that have been made previously at the public hearing. Firstly, many have claimed that the solar panels are dangerous for the environment and the soil. Every day as I drive from my house in South Cuna into town, I see homes, barns, structures, etc. with solar panels on them. It seems that those living under or near those panels feel safe because the solar panels are not dangerous. Not to people, not to animals, not to the environment. Second, I've heard numerous emotional pleas that solar panels are unsightly, will reduce the quality of life near their homes. No fewer than two of those who previously testified, neighbors and my friends, testified against, saying that they're unsightly, have solar panels on their home covering the entire roof on the south side, or on their barn covering the entire roof on the south side. They have no issue claiming that it's unsightly for others to have panels, but for them it's okay. Additionally, I feel like Savion has gone above and beyond to accommodate the visibility requests and impacts of every neighbor near the project. They're even offering a 400-foot setback near all residences, which is more than a football field before you see the first panel. Previously, an investment group on 900 acres of the ground is being offered and had intentions to build housing developments. I much prefer solar panels to maintain the rural feel of this area of Idaho over housing developments. Third, some farmers and dairymen have testified that the farm ground is premium, good farm ground. I can only speak for the 1,200 that we farm. Some's good and some is bad. There are large outcrops of lava rock that can't be farmed. There's shallow soil. There's poor irrigation lines. There's steep terrain. There's power lines that run through the property. Some of our farm ground is good and some of it's very bad. Additionally, as Shane said, our property is listed for sale with no offers, 900 acres of it. Fourth, there's some concern that converting this ground will impact the dairy industry. As Shane said, all of our farm ground feeds our cows, and our cows got sold last of them today. So there's no impact regionally or locally or regionally. Fifth, many have claimed that the use of this land will destroy or impact negatively Melba, the seed capital of the world. None of this ground is used to grow seed or seed crops. This ground is as far away from Nampa and Cuna and Melba. Lastly, some suggest that approving a variance for this project contradicts the county comprehensive plan. There may be some there this claim where we once farmed is covered with homes and commercial buildings. If that beautiful farm ground can be developed and covered, surely this less desirable farm ground that's variance in the associated plan this evening. Thank you.
Any questions? Mr. Chair, Brian, go ahead.
Well, I guess, so this is a very rural part of Ada County, the Cuna Melba area, but the rural part.
Because of the influx of homes. This is not near Melba, it's on the north side of Melba. There are some Melba addresses that touch it. There are a few kids that live surrounding this project, go to Melba schools. Like I said, it's that far away from Melba. As Shane testified, it doesn't block any of the view that is premium in Melba of the Waihees. It's all behind you when you're looking at the Waihees. Well, then if there were some nature and a lot of solar panels, in my opinion.
So you described people as build any consensus on this project.
So I probably know 50 people in this room by name. Go church towards them. I feel like the hyperbole has been shared. Some of their testimony is emotional. And I don't think these decisions are emotional decisions. I think they're factual decisions. I think that there's a few realtors that have started a kind of a Facebook group that are rallying the troops that have been spreading ideas, the values, and it has been ruining the community and on and on and on, and the dust and the fires and the batteries. And I think that from what I've seen, what I've read, the company proposing the project, Savion, has complied with all the state agencies. All the state agencies recommend approval of the variance. They've provided a plan. Every plan's been requested. And to my liking, they've been satisfactory. As long as there's an enforcement mechanism within the county, I don't see why the project would impact the community other than having to see solar panels, mostly from a distance. But I think there's only 6 homes that touch the project. And then there's others within a short range. But it really is, as far as you can get from Cuna without going to Canyon County, as far north as you can get from Melba without hitting Nampa, and it's way out of Nampa. So it's right on the electrical grid. And it was built to inject power right at that point. It's ideal. The ground is all together. Private property, I personally, the other thought that comes to my mind is just listening on the radio as I came in of the Lava Ridge project. This is not the Lava Ridge project. That was opposed by state agencies. That was opposed by senators. That was opposed by a huge group of the approving authorities, and was being pushed by the Biden administration. This is not that. This is not a Biden green energy mandate. It might satisfy some of their itches, but it's not that. It's a private contract. Idaho Power is begging for the power. It's going to provide enough energy for 45,000 homes. Would it be better on the desert? Yes, but that's not on the main line. That's not where you can put the power in the grid.
How many people do you think will be affected by the view where it's at?
What does it mean to be affected? How many
Well,
will see it?
if you can see it from your property.
I don't know, maybe a few hundred. The panels will run north and south, so anybody that lives north of it won't get reflection because the panels will be either facing east or west. And anybody that lives south of it will have minimal reflection at all ever. So really, if you're coming from the east, it's a few dairymen, and they don't really live on the dairies. They just have employees that work at the dairies. So there's probably 3 or 4 houses on the east, and on the west, I think as you go down the hill, there's a few more homes that will see it as you go over the hill in Canyon County. But on the Ada County side, it's very, very minimal in my opinion. You'll see it as you come on Cuna Cave and South Side and Robinson. But with the setbacks, I don't think it's going to impact the homes that are nearby.
Any other questions from the commission? I just have one question. Mr. Buse, who was up here before, and you said you're sort of associated with Mr. Buse, has sold property to Savion? Correct?
It's under contract, it's not sold.
Oh, so
So Savion has purchased a portion of the farm ground that Bill Gates owned. They have not purchased two of the other properties that are under contract, to my knowledge. I shouldn't speak for them, but it's under contract that they have the option to buy the remainder of the property.
so if I hear you correct, then is there a condition on the sale of the contract?
They just have to want it, that's all.
Okay. All
So
right.
if they want it, then they'll close on it. If they don't want it, then they won't close on it.
All right. Well, good enough. I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right.
All right. Now, my general position has been kind of ambivalent. I've been out there as well, and yeah, I definitely see Brian's position.
Today, as I drive from my house in South Cuna into town, I see home.
That was to September 18th, 2024.
Just say you either on record. We have
I'm Shane Buse. I'm here to testify in favor of the solar project. I've lived here in this valley since 1959 and been engaged in farming. I've also been taught all my life that truth is a knowledge. Well, get the facts. This project presents less risk to an individual than driving here tonight or getting on a boat or a horse or a motorcycle. There's been a lot of concern about people expressing the risk that this project presents for their families. This project, in my opinion, does not affect the beautiful view coming into Melba. If you drive down Southside Boulevard going into Melba, there's a fantastic view. The solar project is pretty much to the north and behind that view. Some have expressed a concern that it couldn't be turned back into farm ground after perhaps 4 years of solar use. Well, this ground was in sagebrush for hundreds of years. I don't understand why it couldn't be returned to farm ground after 30 or 40 years of solar energy development. In regards to the water aquifer, the ground that's involved in this project uses approximately 20 million gallons of water per day during the irrigation season. That water will not be used for the solar project. We had a good portion of the property that we owned for sale for several months. It was with a reputable real estate company. We had absolutely no offers. It's been talked a lot about how this is all prime farm ground. Some of it is very good farm ground. Some of it is very marginal farm ground. This property is owned privately. It's kind of interesting. All of a sudden, it's Idaho's farm ground, or my neighbor wants to claim it as his farm ground. I don't know where they were at when it was time to pick rocks, fix the water on a Sunday morning, or bale hay all night. It is our farm ground, and we feel like private property, we have the right to do with our property as we desire. Taking our property out of production will not affect any other feedlot or dairy operation. We've recently sold our cows, and the feed that is produced on our farm, it will not be missed by, we utilize all of the feed in our own operation, which is going to stop. So I'm out of time. Closing, if Savion lives by and abides by the laws and regulations, there's very little or no risk to the people, and I respectfully ask you to support.
any questions?
Approve.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next one up is Brian.
Well, Brian had some harsh words. He knows them. It's a little bit of a Mr. Smith Goes to Washington sort of feel. Or no, one of those black and white movies where it's like the bank going under. I think it's a Christmas one. But he could not rally the troops. It is a political year. And man, the people came out in droves pretty much against it. I just wanted to see if I recognized anyone else. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty ambivalent, but it's already done. I'm not sure if they ended up going to. Oh, they did. I want to look at the conditional use permit for a soil remediation.
More. It's pretty common practice in these sort of arrangements and in, quite honestly, panels were to break, they are
Sometimes they push it up to
Conversation
the
for
front because they
testimony?
know this is going to
So that we could do a thorough review and then reach a decision. Respectful, so we appreciate that. With that, I'll make a motion.
All right, maybe they win it up front.
The site to expand the facility. In 2015, another conditional use and master site plan was approved on the property to operate a private septic disposal facility. One of the terms of approval from the last administrative modification is for the board to review the status of the soil remediation facility every 5 years and consider amendments and additions for approval. The applicant has requested 2 amendments. The first step of the
So conditional use permits, they allow variances or whatever, but it's only temporary and it has
Dear
to
Mr.
be
Chairman
removed.
and Commissioners, this is a 5-year review of the conditional use approval of the soil and water remediation facility and request to amend two amendments.
Soil
The property is located at 1100 Thompson Road and contains approximately 160 acres. The property is in the south part of the county, east of Pleasant Valley Road and south of Cunamore Road. The soil and water remediation facility was approved by the Board of 8 County Commissioners in 2004. Since then, there have been a few administrative modifications approved on the site to expand the facility. In 2015, another conditional use and master site plan was approved on the property to operate a private septic disposal facility. One of the terms of approval from the last administrative modification is for the board to review the status of the soil remediation facility every 5 years and consider amendments and additions for approval. The applicant has requested 2 amendments. The first amendment is that the applicant would like for the board to amend condition number 24 for them to allow them to remediate any compatible non-hazardous material. The second amendment is requested by the applicant relates to the use. The site is 160 acres, and since 2004, they've only utilized 33.7 acres thereof. They now intend to utilize the entire site as originally permitted. The As part of the review, staff sent out a notice to property owners within 1,000 feet of the subject property, informing them of the review and the public hearing. There were no written comments received for the review from the public. In addition, staff sent out requests to agencies, neighborhood groups, and political subdivisions, soliciting any comments, concerns, or issues regarding the operation of the soil and water remediation facility and the applicant's proposed amendments. None of the agencies that responded raised any objections to the current operation of the soil and water remediation facility or raised any concerns regarding the applicant's proposed amendments. Staff finds that the application complies with the County Code and Comprehensive Plan, and I'll stand for any questions.
Come on up. Good evening.
Good evening.
Give us your name for the record.
My name is Brad Richardson, and I'm here on behalf of the LNR Group.
Okay.
What you'll see there's a copy of two different reports. One is the LNR report that was previously submitted, and as well as a copy of the staff report that was previously mentioned here in connection with this application. So you're looking at that. Today we build on the work of a father and son who began their journey protecting underground storage tanks and performing related leakage cleanup at places like gas stations. They saw a big obtained a conditional use permit to run PCS through a landform. They found other waste streams with the same issue and obtained permits to handle and remediate those too. The rest becomes an incredible story. Tonight, we'd just like to ask the commissioners to approve the two key amendments to assessed for LNR's use, but at the time, it was determined not to use those acres until more development was needed. And so that's the first part of what we're asking to have done. We also take this opportunity to provide just responsible environmental solutions and has been at the forefront of environmental innovation since its inception. The key here is that LNR knows that disposal is a dead end, but that remediation and take them and further their use through the process. Today, consistent with the county's permitting, LNR manages through innovative processes various waste streams, including wastewater, brown grease, and even milk products. LNR employs approximately 40 passionate chemists in Meridian, Idaho. The lab, pictured on page 4 of your report, allows LNR to analyze waste quickly in order to determine whether LNR may accept it. This occurs even before the waste arrives at the facility. Significantly, LNR does not take waste at its facility until after it's been analyzed and LNR knows it's safe. If you look at page 5 of the report, it appears to be ordinary dirt. However, these are images of petroleum-contaminated soil filled with microorganisms. As part of this remediation process, this dirt is spread and tilled from time to time, depending on whether it contains gasoline or diesel. Continuing with these waste processes, wastewater remediation consists of a multi-step approach using a series of evaporation ponds. If we had time, we'd show you pictures of the ponds that are located there, where solar distillation occurs. During this process, waste solids accumulate at a box of 2 dump boxes. Pictures of the waste pond and the dump boxes are on page 6 of the report in front of you. These reclaimed oil offsite now have
Sorry, I'm just
a
gonna
LNR's
jump through
remediation
this.
treatment area, and to get ahead of any potential concerns. As with the DE
So it looks like they
daily,
wanna
in the report that
expand.
the staff generated for you, this clear overarching guidelines for a facility. A few years ago, my understanding of those odor issues is that those have been remediated. In the last several years, there haven't been any to my knowledge, any public comments or questions to the county that's been made available to us. I'm aware of one neighbor that has come directly to LNR and talked to them, and that those issues have been worked out. But besides that, it's been very successful in using these ponds for remediation. And I think the key point here is we're trying to change the way things are done environmentally, to use the product that comes in to generate something good going out, if that makes sense. We could continue just to be a disposal site where it's a dead end, so to speak, and things just sit there. But I think the goal is now to take it to a new level and actually be able to use something on the back end.
Doesn't look like you have a lot of close neighbors. How,
That's correct. Yeah, most of them. I mean, this is we've been using approximately 36 acres. Now we want to expand that to 136 acres. So there's a lot of room for LNR to work out there, and the other neighbors are quite some distance away.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's hear who talks
I have a
against
couple
it.
of sign-ups. Reagan Handy.
With
speak
the
on this issue?
smell, maybe.
Okay. If there's not, do you have you want to include some documents in the record?
I do. So, Mr. Chairman, my presentation will be exhibit number 26, and then they have a report, and that was exhibit number 24, which was the report that they went over with you just now.
And application 04005 CUR. Hearing being closed. It's now in the hands of the board.
Wow, no one spoke against it.
What do we say?
Mr. Chairman, based on the, I think they're environmentally sound in what they're doing.
It's skipping because it's live streamed and yeah, the recording got messed up.
It's being monitored by DEQ for all of that, and so I think it's good for the community as well as for them as a business. So my inclination is to support the extension of the application.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
I'm inclined to support this.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Therefore, I move to approve the application. Let's see, file number 04005 CU-M-Reading.
Does that
All right, great stuff. I mean, Brian did some great stuff. I would have been convinced. I mean, I don't get a vote anyway. But yeah, it's a tough thing regarding that solar thing. Brian's his speech is I would say very good. I mean, he's calling out the mob. I have to give him credit to that. All right, have a good one.